I saw it with like no special effects on it and technicians like hauling her around to look like she's swimming. And it was still the most, I got the same goosebumps that I did when I saw the trailer.
I always delight in the backstory of this thing. I know I'm boring everybody to death with this. I should shut up, shouldn't I? It's just one of those bizarre things where there was this little boy who went to hunter school with my niece. I know, I'm sorry. And there was this little boy named Lin-Manuel Miranda who, and it's so stuck in my head because I've never seen anyone so intensely interested in a project. My sister would tell me all about this little boy, and he loves the project, and he wanted to know this or could you sign this, and blah, blah. And years go by, and there's In the Heights is coming in, and there's this grown man wearing a hat in a lot of those pictures, those early ones, and that's Lin-Manuel Miranda, and here we are.
To me, the takeaway from this story was I was the most extra little fourth grader at Hunter Elementary School, and I begged your niece for an autograph.
I don't think it's just that. To me, I got to witness, the birth of a genius, because someone who's that passionate at that age, I'm not being nice. It's happened to be a fact. That's what you are. Someone who's that passionate about the arts at that young age, he just breathes it in. And now in his adulthood, he breathes it out. And it's shaping our entire culture. It's amazing.
You broke the rules. You went to the above world.
A man was drowning. I had to save him.
This obsession with humans has to stop.
I just want to know more about them. Ariel, don't!
The first thing we started was a new song for Ariel. Alan had this incredible melody that was beautiful because that's what Alan makes.
And it was this lilting thing that I take it from the animated movie.
Yeah, you were riffing on the Kingdom score music from the original film.
Right.
That's right.
And it was very lilting, and Lynn said, love that, but...
Yeah, I said, if we slow this down and put a dance hall beat under it, like, what could happen?
It was a waltz when you started it. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
And it became, and then...
Yeah, and then I said, what if you slow it down and dance halled it?
It just gives it that sort of this kind of Caribbean island vibe that we were already headed towards. So that was really fun. And then I just immediately gave you some just like dummy lyrics. But it really I think it took both of us just kind of throwing something down on the paper and looking at it together. And then it wrote very quickly.
It's called For the First Time.
It's interesting, like all the clues for what that song could be are actually laid in by Part of Your World, which is, one of the greatest I Want songs of all time that Alan wrote with Howard. And she's wondering all these things about what life on land is like. Literally one of my favorite lyrics of all time. What's a fire and why is it? What's the word burn? And so we thought the opportunity to actually see her come face to face with the realities of life on land, with 1, gravity, 2, fire, 3, clothes, like all the 4, like how people on land regard sea creatures.
Finally, she's face to face with this man that she has been in love with. When he realized that she can't talk, this can't be the girl who saved me then. And so you see, she's discovering heartache also for the first time.
Yeah.
It really takes has quite an arc to it.
We really took our cues from Rob and David McGee, who had a very clear vision. First of all, they have incredible affection and love for the original. I'm on board as a producer, but really as a 9-year-old, being like, please use all the things from my favorite movie and honor them. They kind of circled some moments, and then we sort of went about our task. Some went better than others, and some emerged later in the process. Like there's a Part of Your World reprise that showed up pretty late in the game that was really joyous and fun to write. And that was once they were further down the road. What's fun about working with Rob is that he's incredibly meticulous.
Oh my God, is he ever? Yeah.
Yeah, and always collaborative, but also he's got the whole movie in here. And so we just went about sort of attacking those moments.
We have his number for Scuttle and Sebastian. It's so in Lynn's wheelhouse. If anybody asked me to now perform it, I'll have to transform myself just to speak that fast. It's brilliant because what happened was I gave him a piece of music and he literally musically rapped over it. And the two of them just danced together in the most, sort of infectious way.
And ever since, the guy, what with the hair and the thing, the prince has been dropping hints. He wants to, when people dress up like they're penguins, throw rice at the pigeons. They're trying to blow up the pigeons, but those are just urban legends. I know a lot of really fat pigeons. Scuttle, and you're like, would you just listen?
It was fun because Alan sent me this piece of music of like, do you think Scuttle patter could work over this? And it was so bouncy and so delicious that I kind of chopped it up inside Logic a little bit, and then just, again, to write patter for Scuttle is sort of like, it's the most deliciously ADHD runaway train of thought you could write for a character. So it's you're writing over the bar, there's tangents inside of tangents, and we can't get to the point, which were all in that original movie. And it's a moment in the original movie I always really liked, which is Scuttle comes in and gossips but only has some of the information on the sunrise of the third day. So that was a joy to write, and the music was just like the perfect template for it.
Yeah, and I feel like that was so in Lin's wheelhouse. It knocked me out absolutely what he did.
You can't live in that world unless you become a human yourself.
Is that even possible?
It's what I live for.
It's funny because everyone's seen the trailer and now you know how good Hallie's gonna be because she sounds incredible in that trailer, but no one's ready for Melissa McCarthy in this movie. And by the way, I wasn't ready because you remember, I don't know if you remember this, Alan, I was only in London for a couple of days and she wasn't set to record when I was there. So I got to hear Awkwafina, I got to hear David, I got to hear Hallie, and I was like, all right, I hope Melissa's good, bye.
Were you there when she stood in front of the orchestra and sang with you?
Just all of this.
I snuck a video. I'll show it to you.
Okay, great. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy how great she sounds and brings all of the delicious camp from the original, but then also is just scary. She's really scary. It's great.
They're going to come after her for so many musicals after this. Has she done a musical before?
I don't think so.
I remember she went on the Tonight Show and did some sort of a Colors of the Wind where she was singing it. They were blowing her clothes off or something, a comic routine. The song for Prince Eric, and you said this publicly, was, I think, most intimidating for you because it was very much in the Ashman Menken wheelhouse. It was the ballad.
The soaring ballad, and the melody's so beautiful. All you want to do as a lyricist is earn it and earn your keep inside it. We took our cues from David's script, which was great, but what he's done with Eric is made him an explorer. And so in a lot of ways, he and Ariel have the same restless spirit, but they're just from two different biomes. He wants to see the other edge of that horizon line, wherever it may lead him. And he's endlessly drawn to the sea and she's endlessly drawn to land. So where does that get us? And since this moment where, he was this close to death and has been saved by this woman with a siren voice, it won't leave him alone. And so that restlessness has now found something to search for and to yearn for. It's sort of these impulses coming together.
It's all just whirling in his head. And it's a love song to her, but it's also a love song to the sea. And the title that Lin came up with, Wild Uncharted Waters, was perfect.
Wild uncharted waters.
Beyond the sea, yeah. In darkness bound, I had almost drowned till you came around and you found me. Yeah.
There's a lyric in there, my favorite lyric in it is at the end where he says, time may change the shoreline, but time will not change me. And that's the kind of vow that you make when you're really young, but it's the kind of vow you keep when you are that passionate about something. It's something like a 9-year-old begging for a kid's uncle's autograph because he just so wants to be in this business. It's that kind of energy.
We write for the story and the characters and not any particular actor, ever. I consider myself like an architect. I'm building a house that others will live in. And many others, and they'll live in it differently. So I just want to write for the character that's in my head.
That being said, I also see it as like we're making tailored suits. And there are times when we go, all right, we just tuck in this little bit here. Like when we taught for the first time, I remember all of us playing with Hallie in terms of that final build when she meets the prince. And that was really exciting to hear, like to find the best crescendo. And it was you, me, Hallie, and Rob and John all just trying stuff until we found the best crescendo into that moment. The other moment that was like that was on Scuttlebutt, which it almost exists almost exactly the way we wrote it. And then when we were in the studio with Aquafina and David, we were like, well, we could do like a crazy double time thing right here at the end because they can do that. And it would just be like, you know, an extra little button, a little extra icing on the cake. And so I was like, all right, let me think of some things that they could rap really fast. And that was really fun. Yes, it's always story first. As an actor who has worked for Rob in an acting capacity, he's so good at just making his actors feel totally taken care of and playing to their strengths in a really beautiful way. And so sometimes our job entails that, of like leaning into that.
I know something's starting right now. Watching, you'll see. Someday I'll be part of your.
When I finally saw the movie, just sort of in the first rough assembly, I went into their offices in downtown Manhattan, and Wyatt, our editor, was there, showed me the film. By the time we got to Part of Your World, I was a wreck. And it was just a matter of letting Hallie be Hallie. In some places, maybe saying, let's a little more half-spoken on this. Or sometimes she riffed, and I thought, okay, you know what? It works here.
I saw it with like no special effects on it, and technicians like hauling her around to look like she's swimming, and it was still the most. I got the same goosebumps that I did when I saw the trailer.
The CGI for Under the Sea is just stunning.
Crazy. And again, like Under the Sea was the number for me. When I first saw this movie in 1989, I remember feeling the goose flesh up my neck and feeling weightless and underwater and transported by a movie truly for the first time. And, you know, Rob is showing me these pictures of fish and being like, and they're going to dance. And I was like, all right, Rob. But then he said, I'm working with the Alvin Ailey Company, and we're going to basically make this the biggest carnival of all time with all of these creatures and their movement. And he did it. He just did it. It's stunning. It's so eye-popping and dazzling.
I'm just thrilled because it really feels, it is a Little Mermaid. It's a new Little Mermaid score in a way, with the old elements and the new elements, and they're really well married. So I'm really proud of that.